Good afternoon and welcome back, poker friends. This is Run It Up 2. If you were with us last time, you know that poker was very much not happy with us. And the bankroll slide continued. Today is the same day. We have come back for our revenge. The aforementioned Kit Kat and Reese's Peanut Butter Cup are in effect. Not exactly donated to the poker gods, but more like I'm eating them. But nonetheless, they are here, and who knows? Anything will help. So we were 346.62 was the sad shape of the bankroll when we bought into this table, which is brand new to us. So we are rubbing our hands. We are hoping for the best. We made 3 circles before we sat down. Anything to break the spell. Looks like we've got a table of mostly full stacks. That's nice. And the biggest among them exercising his option to raise on the button. All right, 10-7 seems all right. Speculate with, and to start things off, we whiff. So, yeah, we've not done so well lately, and but everybody loves an underdog, right? I mean, maybe this is the greatest thing ever. Maybe we'll get the underdog effect, and it'll just sort of make things that much more exciting. If we continue to make decent decisions and lose anyway. Of course, there's always the question of whether our decisions have been decent. 8-9. Look at that. He calls with his 8-9 right there on the turn. So, which leads me to kind of maybe quickly gloss over the last hand we played last time. And it's amazing how often the very last hand, like we've already clicked sit out, and you're just going to wait for the blind to come around, and you get a decent hand under the gun, and something just goes horribly wrong. The number of times I've picked up aces on what I've already designated as the last hand of a session, and then sort of lost with them is really quite astonishing. Anyway, you were there, you saw the hand. We have some questions to ask, I guess, about how we played it. We have Trip Kings, Jack Kicker, on a guy who limp called under the gun. Now we briefly mentioned micro limit tails last time, and one of the things that I didn't mention but am familiar with is a lot of people will limp in early position with small pocket pairs, hoping to see a flop for free. Then when somebody raises and they don't have that opportunity, they call anyway. And that's absolutely what he did. So that was a pattern perfectly consistent with a hand like pocket deuces or pocket threes, which in the end, of course, is what he turned out to have. But in totality, I keep pulling this thing up right in the way. Come on, cooperate. There we go. All things considered, how was our hand shaping up there? And I think the answer is okay. While, his limp call may be consistent with pocket threes, it's also consistent with other pocket pairs. One of the things that a lot of people at this level, some are, some aren't, but many of them are certainly familiar with the idea, especially the suspicious types, that if the second of a card falls on a turn, let's say, that means your opponent is less likely to have that card, right? And that's certainly true in a way, but it doesn't mean they don't, but it does make it a little bit less likely. Some people take that concept too far. I do see that a lot. So we talked about the possibility that guy could have had aces. If he had aces and was a little frustrated by the presence of a second king that could have made trip kings and beaten him, a lot of people will sort of justify, a lot of people play based on what they want to see, as opposed to the reality. It's hard for some people to face the truth in front of them. And so a lot of people with aces there, I absolutely think, are going to see the second king and go, oh man, that sucks, and then say, well, wait a minute. That just means it's less likely the guy has a king. I'm going to go ballistic with my aces. And especially a shove would be consistent with that type of thought. Some people just can't fold aces no matter what anyway. Other pocket pairs, maybe the guy has a pair of jacks and he takes that idea of it's a second king, so we're less likely to have a king. My jacks are going to be good. I think that happens often enough. You see those things all the time, and I think you see them enough, combined with the relative strength of our hand. And certainly once we've made our big bet, it's not a hand we're really going to get away from. But I think those things, they do represent possible scenarios, just not the one that happened to be. So, as sucky as the result was, I don't think it's sure enough that we're behind that we can really handle that situation any other way. If you disagree, let me know. What's been your experience? What do you think a guy like that is thinking in a spot like that? That's half of what this Run It Up 2 challenge is all about. Maybe having the chance to go over some of those thoughts and see if the way we look at them is okay or not. Okay, Kit Kat Power. Here we go. 5-6. Same suit and all. All right. Oh, let's start our timer. There we go. So people coming and going rapidly. Oh yeah. Chocolatey, wafery. Poker's gotta like that. I mean, if I could share it with poker, I would. And hopefully poker knows that and is appreciative. Maybe poker just thinks we're trying to pull the wool over its eyes. I don't know. 7-3 suited against the short stack and the guy who posted. He folded to a raise last time. Maybe a little bit silly to be raising, considering the size of his stack. At this point, we'd probably almost go with it. I mean, how strong can he be if he's limping? And beware somebody who is stuck 3 buy-ins on the day. He's likely to be in a mood to gamble it up. And this time he just passes. Okay. There you go. Ace and Queen. Those are pretty big cards. If he tries to bet again, considering we've re-raised him a few times already, we love the potential that he'll be getting sick of it. Come on, buddy. You gonna stand for that? Teach me a lesson. Come on, buddy. Take your time, whatever you do. Think it through. Think it through. Okay. Wise, wise. I would have thought that he might have stopped trying to limp by now, but apparently not. And there's a min raise again. So, Kit Kat working so far. Look at that, $1.25 already. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. The Kit Kat power is leading to a heater. In the initial run-up of the bankroll, I have made over $100 at 25 no limit in a day of a few hours action. So with a free afternoon ahead of us, we could do it. Wouldn't that be nice to recover it all right away? I think we're just going to give this guy a break. Thinky, and check. Nope, he's got some more thinking to do. There's the check. So we did mention yesterday a handful of tells, and one of them was the very long wait. And then the check. One of those moves that seems to be... I think the general idea behind it is, oh my goodness, I have so much to think about on a flop like that. I have to think for a while. And, somebody trying to maybe slow you down or plant the seed of doubt in an opponent. I mean, it's Bush League psych-out stuff, right? But people do it all the time. I'm not sure what on earth he was doing. It would be more likely to do it with something like Ace High that they think may win at Showdown, if they can just keep you from betting that long. But it's one of those things. The long wait, check. Speaking of moves, there's the check raise. And they're going all the way. 10-Jack, not going to beat the Queens. Short stacker bites the dust. So as long as we saw that, short stackers at these levels are bad in so many ways. Let me count the ways. Alright, so we're going to raise them up yet again. We're not folding. Okay. I'm a little surprised that he keeps letting us get away with that, but we'll take it. Short stackers, sort of, if you're not, there are spots, there are dynamics that are potentially advantageous for a shorter stack, right? This is a well-known fact. There are dynamics to be taken advantage of if you're a short stack and you're against a full stack and another full stack in a three-way pot. An opponent's implied odds are different against a short stack, obviously. And there are ways to maximize those dynamics in your favor as a short stacker. But I swear nobody so far at the 10 and 25 no limits levels that I have seen seems vaguely aware of these concepts whatsoever. Almost always, short stackers are they're short stacking because they don't want to risk any more money, so basically they're scared money, and or because they think it's simpler to play a short stack, that the decisions are easier to make. Sadly, the decisions that short stackers do have to make, they tend to be making poorly at these levels. A flop will come, and if it looks, a short stacker makes it to a flop and flops a pair, let's say. So often, if it's a raggedy-looking flop, some flop that they think their opponent would not likely have connected with, they're just going to go ahead and put it in with their second pair. And very few of them seem to understand that they're almost guaranteeing that worse hands will always fold and better hands will always call. I mean, it's just one of those things that you see time and time again from short stackers. So for the time being, we love them. sooner or later, again, we would imagine that we'd get to a level where short stackers are a bit more savvy. They're kind of doing it with the most optimal strategies, or something approaching an optimal strategy for a short stack, and could maybe make life annoying. But so far, we just love them. They're like little nuggets of money that can be picked up easily. They're not quite the whole poker cookie, but they're a little chunk off the side that maybe has a big chocolate chip still left in it. And so you're happy to have it. Well, 7-4, getting away with it there. There was a guy I knew at a well-known card room in Southern California where I have occasionally spent some time playing poker. Older gentleman, just the nicest guy in the world. Always pleasant to have him at the table. Intelligent, educated fella. And he basically plays a live short stacking strategy, but all he does is he's just a complete nit. That's all he does. He could do the same thing with a full stack. He's just an absolute nit who moves in with any top pair, and pre-flop moves it in with any sizable pocket pair, aces, kings, queens, sometimes jacks if it looks weak. And it's just sort of the most obvious, and somehow he makes money. Or he claims he makes a lot of money. Not a lot, but he claims he makes, I think, more than he does. Nonetheless, how people continually fall for it, I do not know. He sits there and folds for 2 hours, and then open shoves with pocket queens, and some guy with 10-jack suited calls, or ace-10. It's really sort of astonishing. And he spent a better part of an hour one time, I think, explaining to me how successful. And as soon as he wins a pot, as soon as he doubles up, because somebody falls for his bush league psych out stuff, he stands up and he moves to a new table. Table change. And he's gone. And then he rat holes the winnings, buys in for the minimum again, and starts the cycle over. And I saw him 2-3, I think, was the level he played at. So it's not even like he was... I would almost understand it and believe it would work at 1-2. But 2-3, I would have thought that people were, had a little more sense than that, but I guess not. So, short stackers. God love them. Jack, deuce, not quite what we're looking for. Well, I feel things are stagnating just a little bit. We made a couple hands on the power of the Kit Kat. But, the power of the Kit Kat combined with the power of the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, how can that fail to get things really heating up here for us? It's heater time. Oh, look at that. One bite into a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. I'm going to have to eat candy all day long now. Come on, buddy. I'm ready for you. It could be that he's just busy making a sandwich. He's having lunch while he's playing. Also a reasonable explanation for the delay. Maybe he's short stacking several tables. So let's take a look at exactly, not to get too depressed about it, how much we're down today. $7, $9, $64. Yeah, $77.33. So right on 3 buy-ins. We can do it. We can do it. If I'm remembering correctly, we got to see the hand, the last hand he raised on the button, open raised on the button there. And it wasn't too strong, not surprisingly. He was opening pretty wide. And the re-raise, which is the first one of those we've seen out of him. We can't imagine he's doing that with worse than A6, so I think we'll pass. Okay. Stand corrected. Finally making a move. Sick of getting manhandled, that guy. Okay. So, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup in the engine. It should be flying high. Serious no-limit hold'em action. Easy. So easy. Oh, look at number 4, LOL. Taunting him. Taunting him. Showing off his poker chops. Uh-oh. See how the short stack deals with the short stack. That was not surprising. Short stack on short stack action. Always kind of comical to see. There's no LOL from number 4 now. Look at that. Free flop. Jack 4. Don't think so, buddy. Okay. So doubtful. I think we're going to give it a whirl. He wasn't quite ready to turn around and risk all that money he just won. No, sir. So, back for the 750. I mean, even with the idea that, let's say, you know, pocket nines is ahead of anything pre-flop, except a bigger pocket pair and flipping against, you know, all the overcards. Why would you do that? Why would you want to say, okay, one of the best situations that I'm going to be in is as a, you know, 52 to 54% favorite. And, you know, how many years would you have, how many hours would you have to put in to make any headway? But I guess it's easier, and I think ultimately that's probably the motivation a lot of the time. Somebody who isn't able or willing to put in the time to figure out how to make a decision any more complicated than that. Not to disparage newcomers or anything like that. Everybody's got to start somewhere. But it just seems like there are better ways. King high is flush is going to do it. 6-10 is not going to do it. So except for the really nasty stuff, we haven't had too much scintillating action in the running up 2 series. What a horrible thing. Maybe we ought to start making these 10 or 11 at night. People are much more likely to be looser and more aggressive. Look at number 2, proud again to be succeeding in an outrageous play like that. Alright, so we now do know that he's capable of 3-betting pre-flop with worse hands. Now, last time he was doing it against a raise from the button, so a much more standard situation for his opponent to be raising super wide. We raised under the gun, so less likely that we would be quite so wide. He could have us beat a few different ways, but he could also have us not beat. That doesn't help a thing. I think now we have to go away. I mean, among the hands he's 3-betting with, there are many hands with aces. He could have been lucky and kind of caught diamonds or something like that. Third pair, and no real way to improve should we not be ahead. I think that's that. Number 2 says, if you had pocket A, you blank, 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 blank. Okay? Oh, that was the guy who won that pot with the king high flush. Just letting number 3 know that if you happen to have pocket aces, you know, you're a really bad player because you let me make a flush. The class of chat at these levels is just stellar. I mean, talk about banter of the highest caliber. Oh, number 4 back to his LOL ways. I guess he forgot about the pot he lost. Thus stacking himself. Sooner or later, we're going to have an action-packed table. Maybe next time we'll play 2 tables of 25, no limit. Double our chances of exciting and interesting things to have happen. Number 4 is starting to feel a little frisky lately. But he checks the turn nonetheless. We raise the flop, check the turn. Oh my. Look at those two playing their games. We have to assume that re-raise was pure move there, pure creativity from number 4 and his growing confidence. Quick call and a check on the turn again from number 4. Hey, he makes a 6. So number 4, it seems, likes to float a lot of rivers, a lot of flops, I mean, and not bet turns. The sort of red circle on his back is growing larger by the second. With every hand we see him play, we are kind of seeing him as a bit more of a target. But Jack 4, not the springboard from which to do that work against him or anybody else for that matter. If we were truly adventurous, we would have made top pair there. Here it comes. Oh. And a check back on the river. He's going to call anyway. Nope, he lets it go. Like he was getting a little stubborn. Yet again, 8-5, not the kind of hand we're going to take up against the calling monkeys. And once again, we get punished. Well, the effect of some Halloween chocolate was short-lived. Agonizing decision for number 3 on the button. Then again, maybe he's making a video and talking things through. You never know. Could be making a training video for his site. Number 4 trying again to rub it in with a little THX. I do appreciate it, he says. Attempting to reinforce the concept that he was stealing money there. Which, all in all, considering his raise size, seems unlikely. I don't think he was raising there with nothing. Okay, so the super gullible guys over here, the Lucy guys, you know what, we're going to pass on 10-8. It's like we shouldn't have passed on a 10-8. I was beginning to say that the looseness, the silliness is over here, a little more stable on our left, so we sure could have raised that up. And I think we're going to have to look at just one more hand and then call it quits. Very sad that things were once again slow. Although slow might be a step in the right direction. Slow might mean that the chocolate sacrifice is working wonders for us, because we didn't lose 3 buy-ins. Maybe that's cause for celebration. Maybe the worm has turned. Let's hope I'm not speaking too soon. That would have been just one of those classic times for aces to show up here and then sort of get cracked. Okay. We bought in for $25. We now have $26.70. $1.70 is better than minus 50 in my book. So still way down at $348. $348.32. Thanks for stopping by. I don't know what really you would leave questions or comments about, given the slowness of the last 25 minutes of poker. 35 minutes of poker, if you can call it that. Maybe talk about short stackers. What's your theory on what short stackers are up to? Anything you want to say, just drop it down in there. Thanks for stopping by. Check back soon. See how things are going. We'll see you then.